All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Tracy Eman with Women Speakers Association, and we have Leisa Reid with us today, and we are speaker chatting. So it's so exciting to get going again with this. It's been a little bit of a hiatus recently, and happy to have you join me today, Leisa.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is going to be so much fun.
So today, what we're talking about is how to grow your business through speaking. And Lisa's going to talk about, the number one secret to getting a steady stream of speaking referrals, 2 speaker strategies to attract your ideal clients, and the speaker attraction formula. So we'll be going through some questions and answers through this process. And we invite you to go ahead and put any questions or comments along the way. And we're gonna circle back after the live is done. So, but definitely put those questions in there or ahas, because I bet you there'll be lots of ahas today. So Leisa, I'm going to just read your bio for everybody so they know a little bit more about you if they haven't already had the pleasure of meeting you. So whether you're a speaker or not, there is no doubt that we all have expertise that can leave an impact on the world once it is shared. As the founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now, Leisa Reid mentors clients through speaking. And she mentors business professionals and entrepreneurs who want to make an impact and ultimately attract their ideal clients. As a speaker herself, Leisa has successfully booked and delivered over 500 speaking engagements. In her book, Get Speaking Gigs Now, she shares her 7-step system to getting booked, staying booked, and attracting your ideal clients through speaking. And we will invite you to visit her page a little bit later. But Leisa, thank you again for joining us. And you and I've been talking off and on over the last little bit, and you're doing a lot of speaking from your home office too, right?
I am. I love it. I will say, like many of us, that pandemic really threw a curveball in a lot of how I did business. I always coached virtually, but most of my speaking engagements, like 90-something%, were in person. And then everything changed. And last year, so 2020, from April to December, I gave 50 virtual speaking engagements, because what are you going to do? You gotta adjust, you gotta adapt, you gotta learn, you gotta move with the times. And now I have to say, I really enjoy it. There's things I like about both. I like speaking in person, but I love saving the time and being able to be anywhere, multiple states within the same day or countries within the same day. And that's really exciting.
Yeah, I know it's just like that whole thing about pivot, and that word's maybe getting a little worn out, but it is like it's incredible that you don't have that travel time and the driving time or the flying time and the hotel stays, and you get to be close to home, but you're still delivering the same content, making the same, if not more, connections. It's not quite that face to face, but I mean, in what we're doing right now, it's pretty darn close. And I think that's a very cool thing.
Yeah, we're very lucky. And I would say, definitely, if you're, listening to this and you're a speaker and you're thinking, oh, well, I'll wait till I can speak in person again. I'm telling you, there are so many opportunities now because there's no borders, right? Like, you don't need to jump on a plane or hotel or rental car. You have time to all of a sudden speak. I'm speaking in Australia on Friday, but I'll be here in California. So it's exciting.
No, it's really exciting. All right, we're going to go through some questions that we have for you. And we're going to start out with, what is the number one secret to a steady stream of speaking referrals?
Oh, we're going right to the good stuff. How exciting.
We
All right. So this is a concept that I developed naturally through my networking skills. And I think this is really great for anyone in the Women's Speakers Association, because let me tell you, you're in a pool of amazingness with our association here. And it's something I call the speaker soulmate system. And you might think, well, what's a speaker soulmate? I've never heard of that before. Okay. So and it's because I made it up. That's why you never heard of it before. A speaker soulmate is someone who speaks about the same frequency as you. For example, if you're brand new, maybe find someone else who's sort of brand new, maybe on your level. If you're speaking 3, 4, 5 times a month, find someone who's speaking 3, 4, 5 times a month. Now, then of course, your soulmate, right? You think, oh, this is like your inner circle. You're like, you want to make sure you know, like, and trust them, right? Check out their talks. Maybe if you can take a class that they have or a workshop that they have, or test out their products, whatever it is, you want to be able to really get to know them and know confidently, like they are the cat's meow, right? That you, you can undeniably refer them. Then you want to, the third piece is it's someone who's not your competition, but somebody who's complementary to what you do. They speak to the same audience as you. So I call it like the peanut butter jelly effect, or the, peanut butter and chocolate. I like to eat. What can I say? It's fun to have fun little metaphors for things. But because when you start to implement these things and you find this person, maybe it's 2, 3 people, think of it as like your best friends in life. And it's your really close circle. When I found this person, and I didn't know what a speaker soulmate was, I didn't have a system for it, but I found this person many years ago, probably 8 years ago, who met all those requirements, right? We took each other's workshops. We did projects together. We started meeting on a regular basis on the phone for the purpose of referring each other's speaking engagements. Now I've given over, I know you said 500, I probably need to update. It's about 600 now. Okay. Because I speak about 60 times a year, sometimes more, sometimes less. And having that speaker soulmate referral has allowed for hundreds of speaking referrals without me having to do any cold calling. Now, does that sound interesting to you?
Oh, yeah.
I have yet to meet a speaker who wants to cold call and get rejected, right? That's not the funnest part of speaking. That's the least funnest part. So when you develop that relationship, all of a sudden you have that, what I call roll the red carpet. It's out for you, and the door is a little more open. And then the person wants to talk to you because you are being referred by someone who they've already seen speak. A lot of times people think, as a speaker, sometimes speakers think speakers are competition. I'm like, well, not necessarily, right? They can be your biggest ally, your biggest asset, and your most strong strategic partners to get you staying booked. And that's why the Women's Speakers Association is so powerful, because you're just like right in there. You find a couple people who meet those requirements, that may be all you need to do for prospecting, right? And you just help each other, and it feels really good and it's fun.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's about that. It's about community, right? Like we are all here at Women's Speakers Association. We are all here to support each other. I mean,
yeah.
we want to cheer you on. We want to know about what you're up to. And I love just this formula that you've created, and it just makes so much sense, really, right? Like why hasn't someone else thought about it? If they have, why haven't they shared it? But it's true, because the more you learn about other people, then even, as you're talking to someone else and they say, oh, I'm looking for somebody, you have somebody that, like you said, you vetted, that you can support, that you love what they're doing, that they're talking to, to the same audience as you are, yet providing complimentary, source information, support, whatever it may be. And I think that the whole idea of that, we don't need to be in competition. We want to be a team, a group, a community that's sort of building each other up. And
Absolutely.
yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's very powerful. And I also think people sometimes think they have to, I mean, I work with, I coach speakers all the time. So there's this worry or anxiety about finding all these leads and reaching out to all these people. And I'm like, yes, that's certainly one way you could go. Or you could dig, deeper instead of wider, right? You go deeper with the people that you can really trust. And all of a sudden it just is easier. And then you become a resource for all those places that you spoke. They go, hey, lots of speakers, right? Who else do you know? And then that's you getting a chance to give back. And so it's like a win-win-win. It just, I'm really big into feeling positive, feeling joyous about what you're doing day to day, and what kind of energy you're putting out there day to day as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I can feel that from you, Leisa. So that's one of the reasons why I invited you to be on today.
Oh, thank you.
So let's talk about strategies that speakers can use to attract their ideal clients. I mean, one of the strategies is really, align yourself with, one or two or five other people. But what else can they?
Yeah, and that's a great way to get the bookings, right? And then you get the booking and okay, now you need to deliver your content. And one of the things I think a lot of times speakers worry about and having, I call it speakers kryptonite, those things that kind of keep us awake at night and keep us from sharing our message, is they worry so much about giving so much content to the audience. And I call it like fire hosing your audience or Thanksgiving dinnering your audience. You don't want the audience passed out on the couch, right? You want them wanting more. And two strategies that I use when teaching people how to get their talk ready to rock is, one, you can share how you solve problems. And the second one is share a story. Okay. Sometimes they might be the same, sometimes they might be different, but I like to pose it in those two different ways, because when you think of how you solve problems for people, you think of certain things. And then when you think of sharing stories, you think of certain things. And sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're different. So for example, one of the problems that I solve for speakers, they might be suffering from a speaker's kryptonite, like, oh, I'm still working on my talk. I don't know if it's any good yet. I don't want to make a mistake. I'm not really sure how to, make an offer at the end. What should I say? I'll just keep working on it, right? So they're sort of in this like, oh, I'm just stuck working on it. Well, my Get Your Talk Ready to Rock is we make decisions quickly. We go through a format, but it's still yours. And you get to, when I work with someone one-on-one on this, it's like, let me extract your brilliance. Let me listen to what you're saying and watch how excited you are about the different things that you're saying. And then let's put that into it so that you stand out and that you're really in line with who you are and not trying to be everybody else and not trying to give them what they want to hear. No, like your brilliance is what makes you unique. And so that's one problem that I help people solve. It's like, yeah, let's find your gold and put it out there so you have a product on the shelf and you can say, here's my talk, this is what it is. And you feel really confident about it. What keeps people from putting themselves out there is they're just like, I don't know, is anyone going to want to hear this? I'm not sure. So then you just end up working on your talk forever, and that's not going to help you. No one's going to hear it, right? You got to get out there. So that's one way I would like solve a problem for someone. And an example of sharing a story, I had a client who is a new speaker. He is a new coach, and he oftentimes thinks he doesn't know anyone and he doesn't have any experience. And this is really common with speakers and just people in general. We all have doubts. As we started working together, within a couple of weeks of us working together, he got a booking all of a sudden. He's like, oh, I got booked. And then I said, okay, great. Let's reach out and let people know that you're a speaker. He said, I don't know anybody. I said, I don't think that's true, but and it's not true. He knows lots of people. And all of a sudden from one idea, one conversation, he got it. He goes, oh, I could call them. They have speakers. I can call so-and-so at such and such place. Calls her up. Voila, another speaking engagement. So once we start to take those blinders off, all of a sudden there's speaking engagements everywhere. You're going to be tripping over them, right? And so it's really exciting. He called me yesterday. He's like, I just got offered a paid speaking engagement, but I can't do it. Do you know anybody? Right? That's how it starts working. I go, that is gold there. Which goes back to the speaker soulmate system. Like that's you now get to share some toys with people, right? And people are going to remember that. And then it all just starts. Sometimes people just think of speaking as this next thing, but oh my gosh, it's years. Like you've got to think 5, 10, 20 years down. You can use speaking for a long, long time. So anyway, it's just exciting to me.
Well, and I love that sharing stories. And I think that stories really, it allows people to sort of connect with you too, right? There's something about that story. They either connect with you or they connect with someone that you're speaking about. Everybody's felt like, oh, I don't know enough people, or that I'm not quite ready. I'm just working on getting this right. And that perfection is like, we're never going to get to perfect. So
We're
let's
not.
get out there and get things going and get started and continue to learn and build and grow and gain that confidence. So a lot of time it's the confidence that is kind of holding us back, right?
Yeah, and that's where I really like to dig in. And that's why I call it the speaker's kryptonite. Because like you could be the most confident, intelligent, driven person and still, like Superman, be affected by something outside of you and internalize it, and it can weaken you, right? And stop you. And so that's why, and I have that too. I'm not immune.
Yeah.
I'm not immune. I have my doubts. But when we start to face them, I'm a big fan of like, let's look under the bed for that monster and face that monster in the face, like eye to eye. Let's take a look and see what's really going on. And then go, okay, you know what? It's going to be all right. No one's going to die. Like, I'm going to be okay. They won't know if I mess up. If I do mess up, I can just laugh it off or
Exactly.
keep going, whatever that is. And that comes with experience. I'm also a real fan and champion of failing forward, if you want to call it. There is no perfection, right? How would you know if it's perfect anyway? You don't. And so it's like, make a decision, put it into action and change it as needed, evolve and change. Like if anyone has kids and you teach a kid or you remember learning how to tie your shoe, it's not great in the beginning. It's all messy, it's loose, it's too much of a knot or whatever. Your fingers aren't working to get that bow. You keep trying, but we are so hard on ourselves. Like, we would never say that to a little kid, say like, you're not doing it right. You need to do it perfect the first time. No, but we do that to ourselves. So
Yeah.
think of yourself as that little kid trying to tie your shoe.
Well, and the funny thing is that, it was such a big thing, or you watch your kids and it's such a big thing and you're like, okay, just keep trying. You can do it, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like, you're not even thinking about it. It just happens. And it's like, do you remember when, like, people don't always remember what they went through to get to where they're at.
No.
And the other thing about that perfectionism is that, all that time that you're perfecting your message, you're not sharing with people that need it now. And so you're really, you're kind of doing a disservice to other people too,
Absolutely. I
as well
say
as yourself, right?
100%. I say, get out of the way. You are in the way of other people's transformation, of their success. It's not about you. I know we like to think it's about us. It's not. I believe we are conduits, like that we have been given some kind of gift or expertise or knowledge, and we've been called to speak. Anyone in the Women's Speakers Association has been called to speak. However, that came about.
Yeah.
You just thought, okay, I need to say something. I need to get this out. People need to know this. And so that's really important. That's really important. And we just got to get out of the way and let the message come through and serve who needs to hear our message.
I think this is a great time. We're not, like I said, we're not checking messages at the moment, but we would love for you to share, are you ready to get out of your own way? I'm like, yes, hands up, both hands
Yes,
up. I'm ready.
yes. We're so fans of that at Women's Speakers Association. Like, yeah, I get you. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so what is the first step you recommend for people who want to get started as a speaker?
The first step, I do believe, is what I call the get your talk ready to rock part. I say that because if you say that you're a speaker or you want to be a speaker, even if you say it to one person, much less post on your social media or change your title to speaker, the very next question is going to be, oh, well, what do you speak about? And if you don't have a confident answer, it's almost like you failed before you got started. So for me, it's about putting that stake in the ground. Another mistake I hear people say is, oh, I speak on anything. And I say, oh, really? You speak on like penguins in Antarctica? Like no, you don't speak on anything. How could you speak on anything? That's a waste of time, right? You got to put that stake in the ground and say, this is what I stand for. This is what I help people with. This is the message people need to hear from me, because of my background, history, etc. And I think that's really powerful. But you still need to have a strategy and an intention. I don't recommend like winging it,
Yeah.
To have, I don't recommend memorizing either, but I recommend having an intentional plan. That's really important, because if this is your business, you still need to be strategic.
Yeah. And also being aware too that it might change. We all evolve, so it's okay if it changes.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it changing. What is it that you want to speak on right now? What is it that's burning to get out there? And then if you need to adjust it, along the way, I mean, that's part of speaking as a
Oh,
overall
I
and business, right? Like we're always evolving. It's
totally.
like, and sometimes it's, not a very smooth line. It might be a little zigzaggy, but that's okay.
I'll even tell a secret. When I started teaching about speaking, I called it "Get Your Presentation Ready," because I'm like, well, you have to get your presentation ready. You need to have something ready. But that doesn't really sound as exciting as "Get Your Talk Ready to Rock," right? So even that, I was like, it's the same content, it's the same structure,
Yeah.
but that came about later. It probably took a couple years for me to change it. Because I was like, why are people not signing up for this? Like, they need this like yesterday. Because, I'm a founder of a speakers group too. And I thought, if you're not getting out there as much, why would you not want to make sure your presentation's, spot on? So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny.
Sometimes that's interesting because sometimes that presentation, even though when you're speaking, you're presenting, but the presentation has a different feel to it, right?
Yeah.
A different, presentation. We're talking about, sometimes we'll have PowerPoints or some kind of display or whatever it might be. And sometimes that will hold people back as well.
Oh, yeah.
What we're doing right now is like, we're not winging it, but we're having a conversation and we're sharing tidbits and nuggets of information that people are going to, grab onto and want to learn more. And so sometimes that presentation has a different connotation to it,
Absolutely.
right?
And I'm a huge fan of repurposing. So whether that's your talk, an opt-in opportunity that you have created for people, podcast interviews, all those Facebook Lives, video that you want to put together, you are sitting on, listener, a mountain of content, right? But like, you don't need to always be creating new content. Like, a lot of times we forget what we already have created, and then we go, oh, we could use that here, we could use that there, we could do this, we could do that. And so again, I don't advocate my clients working so hard and burning the candle at both ends. No. It's about really creating a lifestyle of where you get to do what you love, help the people you love, serve in your highest good and your best self, and enjoy your life.
Exactly. It's important. That's that self-care that we need to remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if we're talking about, you'd mentioned before about a couple mistakes, but what are some mistakes that you see emerging leaders make when they're getting started?
One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is not practicing. Have you noticed that, Tracy? My daughter is a freshman in college, and she happens to be taking human communications, which is super exciting. That was my major. My major was speech communication. I have a bachelor's and master's from the exact college that she's going to. I used to teach there. I literally taught the class that she's taking right now, years ago, like back in the 90s. And so she came home. I have this speech I need to prepare. Mom, can you help me? Of course. I'm like, yes. And she took my advice and practiced. And we talked about how she could do that, like on the drive. It was a 5-minute speech. So she could practice on the way in and her drive. And it went really well. And she said, Mom, I could tell a lot of people had never given their talk before. It was really awkward or boring, or they spent too much time at the beginning and never got to their point. And practicing, oh my gosh, it's free. Number one.
Yeah.
You could do it anywhere. You don't need a live audience. My dog has heard my presentation many, many, many times. She's an expert. I should have her coach my clients. If only she could speak English. So I think practicing is just one of those things that people know they should do, but then go, oh, it'll be fine. So that's a big one. Another one is forgetting to give an offer at the end. Working so hard, so incredibly hard on creating content that you're excited about, that you lose sight of the opportunity and leveraging that opportunity.
Mm.
And it comes in running out of time. It just is like an afterthought. And so when I help someone with getting their talk ready rock, we actually start at the end first, and then we reverse engineer the whole thing. So that's one of the things I like to do.
I really like that you mentioned, kind of sort of that call to action at the end, because and a lot of times people don't want to do, it's like, oh, I don't want to ask for something at the end. And it's like,
Yeah.
but you know what? People expect it.
Mhm.
I think they're actually disappointed when there's no call to action at the end. They can choose not. I mean, it's up to them to
Yeah.
make that choice if they want to learn more or not. But if there's no call to action there, they're kind of like, so why did this all happen? Right? Like there's got to be more. I mean, I usually you're not going to be able to teach everything in, a 30-minute conversation or an hour conversation. And I think that that's really an important aspect. So I like the kind of sort of, there's whatever the words are.
Yeah, I have so many opinions about this topic. I love it. I love this topic because you are so spot on. That's the speaker's kryptonite, is literally coming in where you're like, well, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to I don't want to. And no, that is fear talking, right? That is fear. And it's also sometimes a resistance to receiving, which a lot of women have, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are moms, wives, taking care of everybody, sisters, daughters, like we're just, a lot of us, not everybody, but a lot of us really, really want to give. And it's lopsided then. So there's this beautiful balance. And I say, want to really serve your audience, of course, give massive value, of course, and honor your business. Because if you cannot make money in your business, you will be out of business.
Mm-hmm.
And you will not really be helping anybody. Like you said, Tracy, like you change someone's life in 30 minutes. I don't know. I mean, maybe if you said something super duper profound, it might have lit a little spark, but if that's not, just like a fire, if it's not tended to, it's going to go out.
Yeah.
So that, really just, and this is, certainly if you're hearing this and you're going, oh my gosh, she is reading my mind. How does she know? Well, you're not the only one, we all, a lot of people struggle with this stuff. I struggle with it too. So, but there's lots of ways to do it that feel really aligned and feel really good, so that you can practice receiving in a really honorable way. I actually call it an action invitation instead of like, it's known as a call to an action called CTA, but it's like, it's an action invitation, just like what you were saying, Tracy. It's like, I'm inviting you, and you don't have to come to the party, but you're all invited, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting. Like, and those of you that are watching right now, I know that with Women Speakers Association, we have people at all levels of speaking, some just getting started, some that are, on huge stages, some all over the place doing either virtual or live. And then realistically, if you're in business, you're always speaking. I mean, you're selling yourself. You're selling yourself always comes across as sounding a little off too, but really it's like you're presenting yourself, you are sharing your knowledge, you're building those relationships. People need to hear you speak, because it really is like you could have 5 people tell you exactly the same thing, but you're going to hear it differently depending on how it's been presented, what kind of connections you have, the way in which they speak. So you might be drawn to someone that's a little bit more animated and laughs at themselves and so forth, or you may be more drawn to someone that's more of a serious speaker, that's more of a professor type of thing, right? And that's fine. But that's the great thing, is that there's so many different ways to be a speaker, and there's so many people that are ready to hear your message. So yeah, this is amazing. Great information. So I would love to have you share how people can get in touch with you. Obviously, we're going to tag you and people can get in touch with you there. But what else?
Sure.
Yeah, if they want, so basically, how can people get in touch with you if they want to get started getting booked more easily and consistently. And consistency is key.
Yes. Well, there's a couple of things. So grab your notepads, everybody, or your devices so you can type this out. You can all go to getspeakinggigsnow.com. That's gigs with an S because you want more than one, right? Getspeakinggigsnow.com and get your 5 top tips to get more speaking gigs now. Okay, so that's just going to get right into your inbox. And there's lots of juicy tips in there. It's all tips that I either have used or currently use. People ask me all the time, oh, did it change in pandemic? Well, yeah, a little bit, but honestly, how I get booked is exactly the same. And so still the same strategies. That has not changed. If you are thinking, oh my gosh, this was the sign I was looking for, I'm ready to start speaking more starting yesterday, then you can personally set up a time with me and complete the speaker readiness assessment that is on getspeakinggigsnow.com/chat. And there's some great questions on there. I want to hear where you want to be going with speaking. What do you think is in the way of you speaking? And let's talk about all that. It's kind of like, I want to like get into your world for a little bit and see what can we tweak. What's the problem? How do we get you closer to where you want to go or get you to where you want to go? And so that would be a conversation we could have. And that's at getspeakinggigsnow.com/chat.
Wonderful. Well, this has been awesome today, Leisa. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And for those of you who have yet to check out Women Speakers Association, we also have a speaker success plan, so speakersuccessplan.com, that you can go and grab, and definitely, follow us in our different Facebook groups that are actually attached to our Facebook page. This has been such a joy I love that the way that you present, like you're so personable. I want to listen to you all day. So it's I hope everybody got some, I don't know how many nuggets. I mean,
57,
there's so
57
much
nuggets.
57 nuggets. And you know what? We would love for you to share one nugget that you're taking away today, and we will circle back around and follow up with any messages that are on this Facebook Live. Thank you again, everybody, and have a most amazing week ahead.